Welcome back to Garage Matters. If you need to do a heater core bypass, come on over. Let me show you how it's done. Now the other day I was driving on the road and I turned the heater on, but I wasn't getting any heat. I noticed a strong smell of antifreeze coming from inside the vehicle, and then I started looking around. Then the first thing I did was pop up the hood and started looking around the engine. I didn't see no antifreeze leaking from the engine, so I started walking around the vehicle. Noticed some antifreeze leaking down on the ground. So I came over here to the passenger side right here. And look down here. Down here was all wet with antifreeze. And then I looked up here. And up here you can kind of see where there's some residual antifreeze from down here. And then I came to the conclusion that my heater core back in here was leaking. So that heater core needs to be swapped out. Now I had to take this off to confirm that it was the heater core. The heater core is located right in here and it is leaking. So in order to fix this, we have to replace the heater core. And in order to replace the heater core, all this right here has to come apart in order to access the heater core. That's a lot of work, and I'm gonna save it for next time when I have more time to take all this stuff right here apart to replace the heater core. But in the meantime, I still need this truck to be up and running, so we're gonna go ahead and do a heater core bypass. Now we gotta come back to the engine bay. Here's what I'm gonna do. So right here, we have these two lines right here. I'm gonna disconnect this line right here, and this line looks like there's enough play in here. So I'm gonna disconnect this line right here, take this hose, wrap it around, and put it onto the fitting right here. So essentially what I'm gonna do is just bypass the heater core right here, put this line to this fitting, and it's gonna bypass the heater core. So this is a really cheap and easy fix just to get your Frontier back on the road. Now when you do this bypass, you're not gonna have any heater no more. The heater is gonna be bypassed. And this is just a temporary fix until I have more time to replace this heater core. Now what I'm gonna do is just get an old t-shirt right here, stick it underneath here, so when I pull these hoses out, the antifreeze is gonna get caught by this old t-shirt. So that's why I like keeping these old t-shirts around, so I can just use them as rags. So we'll do that for now. Stick it underneath here. And then this heater core right here, this line right here, there's two clamps right here, one right here, and one back here. So we need to disconnect these clamps right here and then pull this out. But in order to pull this out, there's two screws right here, two nuts right here. So we need to unscrew this nut right here, and then there's one down there. So we'll unscrew that one and this one, loosen up these clamps, pull this out. Now in here, I've already went ahead and loosened up this clamp. So this clamp was over here. So what you want to do is loosen up this clamp, move it up here. And once it's moved up here, you should be able to pull this entire hose on out. Now to make accessing these clamps right here, it's probably easier if you go ahead and take off this line right here. So we'll go ahead and take off this line first. Now with this hose disconnected from this connector right here, we're just gonna go ahead and remove this little section of hosing right here. Now once you have the clamp loosened down here, what we're gonna do is just turn this hose on and around. So we're gonna turn it around, face it towards this fitting right here, just like that. And we're gonna hook it on. Now once you have this hose fitted onto this connector right here, I'm just going to remove the clamps back up here, and then this clamp back down here, put the hose back on top of here, and then we should be done. And here is the finished product. So this line right here is coming down from here. It used to connect to here, but then we just bypassed the outlet right here, and then connected this line back to right here. So right now we're gonna go ahead and fill up the coolant right here. Go ahead and see how much coolant is in here, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't any coolant left in here, so we'll go ahead and take a peep in here. Now this is the inside of this radiator. As you can see, there's no radiator fluid in here, so we're just gonna go ahead and top it off. I'm not worried about if there's any damages done to the head or the block, because my temperature when I was driving, my temperature was normal, so I'm not worried about it. So we're gonna go ahead and top it off and see if this works. So we're just gonna go ahead and open up this antifreeze right here, this coolant. So this coolant, it's already pre-mixed. Sometimes when you purchase coolant, they're full strength, so you have to mix it half distilled water and half the coolant if it's a concentrated fluid. But this one's already pre-mixed, so we don't have to worry about mixing this. We're just gonna go ahead, pour it in here. Alright, so the radiator is full. We're gonna go ahead and fill up the reservoir. Make sure that there's no coolant in the system. So we'll go ahead and move the funnel over. Start filling up the reservoir right here. Alright, now with the engine running, I'm just gonna monitor the radiator fluid right here. Let it burp, and once you see these bubbles coming out, that's the system burping itself. So you're just gonna go ahead and fill up the radiator fluid once it starts dropping. But the main thing is we want to come over here to where we did our coolant bypass. So these hoses right here, you just want to monitor the hoses right here to make sure that it's not leaking anymore. We'll give the car about 10 minutes of just idling, and once it idles for about 10 minutes and we don't see any leaks, then we'll know that we did the job properly. Now, alright, now just coming back from test drive, this vehicle drives fine, temperature was just fine. So as far as engine temperature was just fine. The only bad part about doing this modification again is that there's no heater in here anymore. But we'll save that for next time when there's more time to take apart this entire attach to replace that heater core. And remember, join us next time on Garage Matters and hit that like and subscribe button.